Well, earlier in the week, Karl Anthony Towns called out his teammate Anthony Edwards' diet. How would AE respond against the San Antonio Spurs once again, 2 times in as many games for the Spurs and T-Wolves? And let's just say AE responded very well. Back-to-back threes to kick the game off. He had 16 first quarter points. That's how you respond to questions about your diet. Karl Anthony Towns, speaking of him, big fella had a really good game as well. Cat with the score, and then Cat with the dish to D'Angelo Russell. T-Wolves up 11 in the third. Beautiful jam by Keldon Johnson, and then Johnson showing you the range. Spurs got some ballers still, man. 27 points for Keldon to lead San Antonio. Other end, AE, another 3. T-Wolves up 9, fourth quarter. It's a 12-point game. How about Jalen Noel? Down the lane and reward me for my efforts. Noel ain't done just yet. You done seen the dunk. How about the ability to pass the rock? Noel up top. Rudy Gobert. I saw Gobert like a tweet. Somebody said that T-Wolves and Utah trade will go down as one of the worst in NBA history for the T-Wolves. Okay, Rudy said, all right, I'm taking notes. Johnson again, trying to keep the Spurs in this one. His efforts would be in vain, though. You see Cat lobbing it to his new center, and then Edwards keeping it for himself. 34 points. Yeah, how about my diet now? Spurs and T-Wolves take a split this week. 134-122 is your final in this one. How about that bounce back game from Anthony Edwards? His teammate Karl Anthony Towns called him out. Was like, yo, bruh, you eat too much Popeyes chicken. And listen, that Popeyes chicken is fantastic. Probably not the best for a professional athlete. Karl Anthony Towns called out AE and give Edwards a lot of credit. The number 2 pick in the draft a couple years ago delivered. I mean, he had 34 big points, phenomenal shooting the rock. When his jump shot is on, he's pretty much unguardable. Give Edwards some credit. He got called out by his star teammate, and immediately the next game he responded against the same team that he struggled against, by the way. Edwards came out and dropped 16 in the first quarter, and now I'm looking around like, AE answered the call. What's up with you, Cat? Minnesota's got a pretty daunting schedule. They got a cupcake against my Lakers next, but after that, in the upcoming days, they do have matchups against the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks, so we will quickly see where this 3-2 Minnesota Timberwolves team is really at. By the way, they play the Spurs again in a couple games. That'll mean 3 out of their last 4 games will be against San Antonio. They just did back-to-back against San Antonio. They got the Lakers in between that. That's their next game. And then they play the Spurs again. Like, who put this schedule together? 3 out of 4 games? Has that ever been done before in NBA history? That was like the pandemic schedule again. That's like when teams have to play back-to-back games. 3 out of 4 games against the same team. How does that happen, by the way? Anywho, we will see where this T-Wolves team is next week for real. They will go against one of the powerhouses out east and out west in Milwaukee and Phoenix. So I'm looking forward to seeing those games. I do have pretty decent expectations for a T-Wolves team that did pull off probably the biggest trade of the offseason, going out and getting Rudy Gobert from Utah. The T-Wolves traded a lot of decent assets to bring in a guy like Gobert, who's obviously a defensive candidate of the year, defensive player of the year candidate pretty much every year. Jared Vanderbilt can ball. He's now in Utah. A couple other pieces can ball. Malik Beasley can ball. They traded some of that depth to try to expedite their process, so we will see next week where they're at. They got a couple more cupcakes, Spurs, Lakers, and then the real boys come around. So we shall see. Shout out to AE for answering the call from KAT.